Hey, it's Sarah McLeodry from Synergy Behavior Solutions here in Portland, Oregon. Today we're going to talk a little bit about multi-dog houses and what it's like to live in a multi-dog household and how to do some easy management to make it a little more livable, to be perfectly honest. So first I'm going to start with just talking about my dogs and how it is to live with them and just maybe some of the situations over the years that I've had with my multi-dog situations. So first in my house right now, I have Rizzo, who is a 10-year-old American Water Spaniel. Behavior-wise, Rizzo is getting a little bit older. She definitely gets a little cranky. She has always had some body touch sensitivity and some resource guarding. She also has really severe allergies that can make her a little more crazy. And she is a very naughty, seeking dog. So she will get into stuff at all times and needs to be managed quite a lot to not eat inappropriate things. She has had 2 bowel obstruction surgeries, unfortunately, over the years, and has eaten many random items that I don't even care to list. My second dog in the household is my 7.5-year-old, we call him a Burnham Terrier. His name is Bueller, and Bueller is has recently been diagnosed with atypical Addison's disease, and that diagnosis came from after we had a huge increase in resource guarding, space guarding, aggression towards the other dogs, aggression towards people in our house. He is also on anti-anxietal medications. He is a very anxious dog, just in general, dog reactive, lots of issues there. And then we have our 2-year-old Nova Scotia Duck-Toling Retriever, Lindy. And Lindy is perfect in every way. Well, not really, but we always joke that she is our most perfect dog. But she does have some unnamed neurological deficiencies in her rear end, and you can tell when she doesn't get her medication to manage the pain, or she has not had a chiropractic adjustment lately, or has had too much exercise, things like that. She also can be resource guardy. And I forgot to mention Bueller also resource guards. So I have 3 dogs who can resource guard in my household to varying levels depending on the situation and varying degrees. Most of them will, Bueller will resource guard against humans. Lindy and Rizzo do not resource guard against humans. We've never had that problem with them. So I want to talk a little bit about our setup. And I'm just going to give you a little tour of my house and talk about some of those pinch points where you can run into problems with multi-dog households. And we're actually going to start, this is my dog room or my office. I will say I'm super spoiled that I completely designed our house. We did build it for ourselves. So there's a lot of things about our house that we designed with multiple dogs in mind. So I'm a little spoiled. But it's from years of learning and living with multiple dogs. So I'm going to give you a little tour. So there's Rizzo. So Rizzo likes to actually sleep on top of the dog crates, and that is her special place, and we try to leave her and let her be there. We try not to encourage the other dogs to get up there because it is her special place. Lindy has learned to get up there, but we don't encourage that because she likes her space there. And if you notice, we have a little climb platform here because as Rizzo has aged, she has needed some help getting on and off that crate. And since that is her little like escape zone, we want to give her the way to do that. Then Lindy, when I'm doing work here, actually likes to hang out on this chair here, which is actually a rolly chair, but it's cushioned. So that's normally where she sits next to me. So Rizzo's in her own space. Lindy's there hanging out. Both of those crates that Rizzo is sleeping on are Lindy's and Rizzo's crates. Rizzo's crate is closer to me and Lindy's is closer to the wall. I do keep my crates covered to give my dogs a little bit of time, just a little bit of space. I personally find it, I like it better. And then we're going to do a little turnaround here of the rest of my, it's hard to see. And all right, so there's Lindy. She's hanging out on another chair that we have in this room. We have another dog bed, and then we have another crate. It technically is Bueller's crate, but Bueller has some crate stress. So that crate, actually Lindy spends a lot of time in that crate. It is her, she likes to be in small crates, so that's hers. Then we have our setup here of this is our door to our outside. And one of the things, and then this is our outdoor area, our dog run. We do have fake grass in the dog run so that nobody gets muddy and I don't have to worry about wiping off feet because that whole inside outside of going out, and doors are a huge pinch point for multiple dog households. And you really need to be careful. One of the things that I am always really careful about with this door is that if somebody is really aroused, usually because of squirrels, because we have lots of squirrels that run on our fence, and they are screaming and barking to go out because they want to go chase squirrels, I actually do not let them out. I will walk away from the door and call them away, and nobody gets to go out until everybody has calmed down, because it's just asking for trouble. Lindy will then chase after the squirrels, and she will bark and come back at whoever else is following her. So we really have to be careful. Lindy also likes to try to stalk Bueller when he goes to the bathroom. So I have to be very careful about interrupting that behavior. If I see her staring at Bueller while he's pottying, nobody deserves to get stared at while they potty, for sure. All right, so we're going to take, so let's see, Riz is very unenthused about this tour of the house and about multi-dog households. I also installed Dutch doors here in this room, so I can leave the top open. So a lot of times when I'm doing consults, because Bueller is reactive, if I keep him in this room, I can open up the top half of the door, and that way he's not going to the front door and barking and getting the other dogs interested in chasing and barking. All right, we're going to go I am in the hallway now. Our hallway's a little wider than a old home hallway. We used to live in a 1927 bungalow, and our hallways were teeny, which was problematic for multiple dogs, but not so bad here. We did make it a pretty wide hallway. We do have a door to our vestibule and our front door. I set this up so that if I have deliveries, things like that, I can shut the door and keep the dogs away from the front door, which is really, really helpful. When the delivery guys come, whatever, pizza, that kind of stuff. So here in our living room, we actually have a pretty small living room, and we have 3 dogs. None of them are overly large, but we want to make sure that every dog has a place to hang out. So I'm going to set this down for a second, give you guys a little tour. So over here on where Rizzo is rolling around on the ground, so that's one of our dog beds. And we have it over on the left side of the fireplace. And then right behind Rizzo is actually a folded up gate right there. And we have that gate to stop. We use it for a number of reasons. One is if we don't want the dogs up on the couch, we can put it up in front of the couch. We also, if somebody wants to eat food out here, that tends to cause some multiple dog issues and some resource guarding. So we can sometimes put that gate out right in front of either the chair or the couch and keep the dogs away from the person who's eating. As you see, Lindy has joined herself on the couch. That's her favorite place to lay. And then, so we have the one dog bed, and then we have the other dog bed over here. And then we have the toy bin around the corner there, the white thing. One of the things, notice that we don't have 3 beds in here, and part of it is just due to space. We don't really have the space to have a 3rd bed, but usually Bueller is sitting in somebody's lap if we're hanging out in here, or Lindy's on the couch. So we usually have enough beds and enough space options for the dogs to hang out in this room. We do sometimes have a problem with that bed close to the toy box. And if somebody is sleeping on that bed and Lindy wants a toy, sometimes that can be problematic. So we'll have to call that dog off the bed, move the bed, and let Lindy have access to the toy. She always lets us know when that's a problem by she'll whine and she'll stare at that dog and do stuff like that. So we want to make sure to interrupt those behaviors and give her what she needs, which is going to get the toy. So we'll really make sure about that. All right, we're going to go head into the kitchen. We're going to go down the hallway, say goodbye to the living room. So we've done a bunch of stuff in our kitchen. First of all is feeding situations. So mealtime is always a big issue with multiple dog households. So when we moved into this house, we actually only had Rizzo and Bueller. So we set up feeding routines for them, and predictability is key. I want them always to eat in the same spots. I want there to be distance between them when we do. So, the light's not on in the in the laundry room, so hold on. All right, so there's all my doggy stuff. And then Rizzo eats here. She eats next to the washing machine, and that cabinet is actually all of where our food, the dog food is stored, and treats and things like that. So she gets fed right there. She doesn't have to go anywhere. It's just easier for that. And then Bueller, she eats right here. So other room, there's a little half wall between them. And Rizzo's really good about once she's done eating, she does not bother Bueller. And Bueller's actually totally fine with people walking past him when he eats, which is kind of funny if those of you who know Bueller and his resource guarding, it's kind of funny. So then you're like, wait, that's only 2 dogs. So dog number 3, Lindy, actually eats all the way across. I'm going to walk backwards so you can see. So she eats over there on her climb platform right here on the other side of our kitchen. And we started that because when we got Lindy as a puppy, this was where her puppy pen was. And so we put her in a puppy pen for meal time. And then we put the climb in there. And so she sits and waits on her climb for food, and we can deliver the food to her right there. So each dog is in their own space. She also is very good, even though she's the youngest, she's very patient and willing to wait for her food so we can deliver it to her. Sometimes she's a little noisy, but she's going to stay on that climb the whole time. Once again, it's a predictability. She knows that she just stays there. The food's going to come to her. No need to get crazy or anything like that. So the other thing that we have set up here in our kitchen actually is, let's see if we can, there's our water bowl. Is we have a tether here. So we use this tether mainly for Rizzo. We use it for when we cook. We use it for meal times. If there's any time where we think that Rizzo might decide that helping herself to the counters or to food that is not hers, that is when we use that tether. And even though she's 10, there's still some things that it's just easier to tether her than to work on training or to manage her. That management is the easiest way to deal with it. Also, it gives the other dogs the ability, because sometimes Rizzo would guard the whole area of the kitchen where I'm cooking and won't let the dogs near my feet. So by tethering her there, it keeps keeps her away from me while I'm cooking, and so she won't guard from the other dogs. So that's another really great option, is tethering. So when you have multiple dogs, you have to think about what are each of their little hot button issues. What is going to make them cranky? So like Lindy's guarding is if she has something of high value and another dog approaches her, that's pretty much the only time she'll guard. And it has to be the right situation, and it's very rare, and it's totally within normal behavior for dogs. So I'm not super concerned about how that happens. With Rizzo, when she starts guarding me while I'm cooking, that happens a lot during the day, and that's not appropriate. So that's why we use a tether. We have her in the dog room, things like that. We use a lot more management for her. And then with Bueller, we have to be a little more careful because he will guard against humans. And so we definitely have to manage all of those situations a little bit differently, but they're all manageable with some simple environmental changes, being aware of where you're feeding everybody. If Bueller is up on somebody's lap and another dog approaches, we don't pet the other dog necessarily, because he can guard that person. People are guardable for him totally. And so just being aware of how you interact with each dog and remembering that it doesn't have to be equal. So just because one dog, so Bueller sleeps upstairs at night with my son, but none of the other dogs do not. And that's because he's my son's dog and he is fine sleeping upstairs. Rizzo doesn't go upstairs very often because she eats inappropriate items. Have you heard this before? And Lindy is allowed upstairs as she wants, but we do keep a gate and we don't let her up there unless we're up there, just out of habit. And so knowing what each dog wants and needs, they aren't the same. Rizzo wants a lot more space from the other dogs than Lindy does. Lindy would actually love a dog to cuddle with her, but but Bueller and Rizzo think that's ridiculous. So they won't cuddle with her. So you have to respect that and kind of work on it. And remember, my favorite thing is name recognition as a positive interrupter. So if you see something happening, just asking them for their attention can really diffuse a lot of situations, and calling them away. I have a really strong recall for Lindy to get out of a situation, and that's really important. And so just knowing each player in the puzzle, also knowing that when dogs either enter the home or exit the home, either they've come to live with you or they've passed away, that changes your dynamics in sometimes ways that you don't anticipate. So really being aware of that situation and how it can affect the whole picture, can really be important. So I hope that gives you some tips on how to manage your multiple dog household with who I have in my house right now. We are teaching a 4-week class on multiple dog madness, we call it, and teaching about stationing and politeness around food and other items of value with multiple dogs in the house. So that class starts in early July. I think it's July 8th. I'd have to go check though. We changed the date. So we'd love to join you because it's going to be an online class. And one of the reasons we're doing it as an online class is that it's then going to be easy for you to set up those scenarios in your house with your multiple dogs. So that's the reason why we're offering that as an online class. We hope you can join us. Once again, it's Sarah from Synergy Behavior Solutions, and hope you learn some tricks of the trade for living with multiple dogs, and we'll see you soon. Bye.